Eventually, I realized and continue to realize anew that I, Jennifer, am quite enough. I'm damn amazing.
Yes.
Now you do it.
Yes. Okay. Eventually, I realized and continue to realize new. God.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It is that I, Raquel, am quite enough. I'm damn amazing. Hi, everyone. This is Raquel.
Hi, and this is Jennifer.
Welcome to Madness Cafe.
This is a feminist podcast where we talk about women's issues, politics, and health and wellness.
And where those issues intersect. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Madness Cafe. Today is another installment of let me turn around to the front of the book of our banned book series. And this, ta-da! This is Well-Read Black Girl, Finding Our Stories, Discovering Ourselves, an anthology, and it is put together by Glory Edim, who has an Instagram page of the same name, Well-Read Black Girl. And she actually started it because she was like, I really like to read and I want to meet people and I want to talk about books that don't get the just don't get the hype that they should and more representation and so all the things. So I'm going to read this little blurb in the back about Glory Edim just for people who don't know. So, Glory Edim is the founder of Well-Read Black Girl, a Brooklyn-based book club and online community that celebrates the uniqueness of Black literature and sisterhood. In fall 2017, she organized the first ever Well-Read Black Girl Literary Festival. She has worked as a creative strategist for over 10 years at startups and cultural institutions, including Kickstarter, the Webby Awards, and the New York Foundation for the Arts. She received the 2017 Innovators Award for the Los Angeles Times Book Prizes for her work as a literary advocate. How cool is that? And she has her biography out now, her memoir called, I think it's called Gather Me.
Nice.
And yeah, so very cool.
I heard the story that her boyfriend at the time gave her a t-shirt that
Yeah.
said well-read Black Girl, and it brought up so much conversation that she was like, oh, we're got to do something with this.
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny because I came across her Instagram feed years ago, years and years and years ago. It would just kind of pop up whenever it would with the algorithm and whatever. I just think she's fantastic. I love that she has done this, that she, and the page is still going, she's still, doing the Well-Read Black Girl book club and all those things. So she's amazing. But so this book, this anthology is basically, for people who don't know, it's basically a series of essays from various Black women writers and activists and storytellers talking about Black literature and Black writing, basically Black art, that because there's somebody in here who talks about plays and that sort of thing that basically have touched them in some way and have had some effect on them. And so I wanted to start us off with reading about why Glory started this whole, universe, basically.
Nice.
So in the introduction on page,
I love the introduction, by the way.
Yeah, the introduction is so good.
It's so good.
So good. On page XVIII.
XVIII.
And I'm sure somebody is really disappointed in me for not saying that in actual numerals. I think so, yeah. She writes, I created Well-Read Black Girl because I wanted to develop a creative space where Black women's voices could be centered. Storytelling is an extension of our sisterhood. From the beginning, I've dedicated WRBG, Well-Read Black Girl, to the phenomenal Black women on our bookshelves. Yet it is also a call to action for Black women to freely define their own narratives on their own terms. Like Morrison states in Beloved, definitions belong to the definer, not the defined. I wanted a place to build on the radical notion that Black women can read, write, and be whatever and whomever they desire.
Woohoo. And right under that, it
Damn.
says, for my 31st birthday, my partner, don't know how to say his name,
Yeah.
Op- Opio?
Opio? I,
Opio? Yeah,
I think.
probably.
Yeah.
Gifted me a custom designed t shirt. It was chocolate brown, and he emblazoned the words, well read Black girl.
Yeah.
So good.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And just imagine, she just started a book club like
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
like you. You
Yeah.
started a book club that became a podcast, and she started a book club. Just imagine what you can create.
I know. I know, right? Yeah, I love this book so
I liked it a lot
much,
too.
so much. And so I just have to talk about this one experience that I had. So this past Friday, I took myself out to lunch and was just, just kind of sitting there, just, having a slice of pizza and like reading my book, minding my own business, right? The waitress came over and she saw the front of the book and she's like, "Oh, that's such a beautiful cover. What are you reading? Tell me about your book." And so I was telling her about it and she was like, "Oh my God, that's so great." And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm reading what did she say? She's reading Audre Lorde." And she's like, "I
Oh,
haven't read Audre Lorde before, but I've wanted to read her." And she's like, "I've got this list of like all these authors that I've wanted to read, but I haven't yet, so I'm starting on it." It just started this conversation about reading and what reading does for us as people. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna pick this book up. I'm gonna read this one, I'm gonna add it to my list, blah, blah." And I told her, I was like, "You don't have to be a Black girl to read any of this, right?" And she's like, "No, no,
I'm
that's
not
totally
Black.
cool." Right, right. And she's like, "No, I think that's great." And so, yeah, it was such a great discussion. And I just thought, this, I think, is one of the things that I think Glory Edim would be so excited about, knowing that somebody was out in the wild reading her book and then had this great connection with just a random stranger because of the book that she put
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And that just it just made me so happy. And there's somebody else who talks about this in the book too, but they talk about how reading and writing can be so solitary and you feel like this solo
Mm.
thing, but it's not always. It's a connector, right?
Yeah.
It brings you into other people's worlds and brings them into yours, and it just there's so much connection that can happen from reading. And I just thought this is really, really super cool.
I think this book kind of brings full circle what we have been trying to do all along, which is to see reflections of ourselves, or let our listeners see reflections of themselves in literature or in podcasts or in movies or wherever. It doesn't really
Mhm,
matter. But what she did do is ask all the contributors to this book to recall where they first saw themselves in
mhm,
literature.
mhm.
So did you think about, where did you first see yourself in literature and what stands out?
I've been thinking about that, and I've been yeah, I don't know that I've specifically seen me
Mhm.
in anything that I've read. I've seen things that I've read things that I have a connection to.
What about childhood reading? Not that you can think of?
Mm-mm,
Alright, well,
mm-mm.
tell us your connection.
Yeah, and it kinda made me feel a little sad. I was like, "Oh shit, I haven't seen myself in,
Keep
whatever."
reading. Keep
Right,
reading, girl. Keep reading.
exactly,
It's
exactly,
gonna
but
happen.
then I thought, one of the things that I've come the closest to was the book that we read about Black women and their hair. And
Yeah.
God, I can't remember the title right now, but
What was that
there
called? I
were
can see the picture of the cover with the comb and the
yeah, and but because there were some things in that book where I was like, okay, I've had that experience,
mm,
right? But I think there's so many, like thinking back on it, I feel like and I've kind of felt this basically my entire life. I always felt like I didn't fit anywhere.
Right.
And I felt like my family was so different from everybody else's family that I felt like people just wouldn't get it or they would judge. And so growing up, I didn't let people get very close because I was afraid people were going to judge.
Mm.
So I just had this feeling of there's nobody out there who knows what I'm living, and there's nobody who can identify with it. And so I just had this kind of like, kind of loneliness that just kind of rode along with me, kind of alongside me, like kind of thing.
Oh, girl, maybe you need to write the book.
I I have been thinking about that. I literally have been thinking about that, and there's a comment that somebody wrote. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find it. I tagged a lot of shit in here, so hopefully I can find the right
I
thing.
know what you're thinking of. I tagged that line too. Where is that line?
Dang it, where is it? But
Ah,
but oh, okay.
nope, nope,
Okay.
sorry, nope.
Not that one. Wait.
A lot of the books spoke of this, of
Right. Oh
course.
yeah, yeah. And so and while we're trying to find it, I'll just go ahead and talk about it.
Ah,
Where which
here.
one? Okay.
So try page 156,
All right.
kind of all the way to
Ah,
the
yes.
bottom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is
Oh, and
that it?
I did underline this. Yeah. This is the essay by, and for anybody who's listening and for the author, if she chooses to listen to this, I'm very sorry for butchering your name, but I believe it's pronounced Bizrat
Better you than me.
Mez
Better you than me.
Mezgebe, I
Ms.
believe is how
Gaby.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right. Ms. Gaby.
Her essay starts on page 151, but then down at the literally the last couple of sentences of the essay on page 156, she writes, I fantasized irrationally that we too would find letters, recordings, or any sort of family archive to fill in the gaps and hold on just a bit tighter. I harbored this fantasy until I realized that I could be doing that work. Finally, I started to write. And I actually wrote in the margin, I wrote me regarding my own family and history.
Yeah, see it? When you were talking, it made me think of this one.
Mhm.
Also, because she talks about a book called Boy,
Mhm.
who isn't written by a Black female. It's
Right,
written
it's written
by,
by Roald Dahl.
yeah. And
Yeah.
he shares childhood memories of being a boy. So she doesn't actually see 100% herself, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
was enough of a reflection
Right.
to dig deeper into a core of an experience that she and he both felt
Mm.
having barely anything in common.
Right, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
what's fascinating. That was one of my favorite pieces, actually. I loved
Mhm.
that one. When I asked myself that question about
Mhm.
what book I identified with, so like I have some that I always think of, like Pippi Longstocking and stuff, but
Mhm.
something came to mind that shocked me.
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I see it now." And I think I can see it because of all the work I've done with holotropic breath work.
okay.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay, do
Be
tell.
First of all, I did not know that Aslan was Jesus in the like a
Mhm. Like a
archetypal
Jesus
Jesus
figure.
figure. So there is all this historical stuff in the book that with my family's religion. My family's Catholic. I'm not. Like all
Mhm.
this stuff that my
Right.
mom walked away from.
Right.
But there's also 4 siblings, and the kind of the bad brother, Edmund, and his little sister, Lucy. I think I'm Lucy. And it
Wow.
never occurred to me until I started doing all this work around my relationship with my brother and
Yeah.
how Lucy wants him to be okay, right?
Yeah.
She's trying really hard to help him
Oh, wow.
be a good kid. Yeah. Shocking, isn't it? But
Wow.
reading this book
Uh-huh.
helped me identify why did I read that book so many times as a kid? I read it over and
Wow.
over and over again. I remember him being suckered in by the Swedish delight.
Mhm.
He wanted sweets, he wanted treats. They were children of the war. They were separated from family and they didn't have stuff and he wanted it. So
Yeah.
he gave the evil witch, practically gave over his siblings to them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
great. Like, who would have thought, right?
Wow.
So I'm curious
Mhm.
because you and I are reading this from a different perspective, of
Mhm.
course.
Mhm.
How did you I don't know. I mean, you're not a monolith or anything, so it's really hard to ask this question. But I am curious, what was your experience with the book?
with with the book.
Yeah,
First off, let me just say again, I love this book.
I liked it too.
I mean, yeah, I have my favorites as far as the essays, but
And we're going to talk about that
I thoroughly enjoyed every single essay in this book.
as
Every
did
fucking
I.
essay. Every
As did
fucking
I.
essay. But I will say, I felt kind of a mixture of sadness
Hmm.
and mixed with that, oh, but now I have the opportunity to move forward, right?
Ooh.
So there were so many authors in here that I was like, I've never heard of that person.
Same,
I
same,
hadn't heard of
same,
that
same.
person either. And there were some of the women who talked about like books that they read when they were kids and authors that they read when they were kids. I was like, I've never even heard of that book. I've
Yeah,
never heard of
same.
that author. And I was like, uh-oh. And so I felt like it kind of
Do you
my
feel
first my
behind?
well, yeah, a little bit. I did feel a little bit behind, and it kind of made me feel sadness for little me and also a little bit of anger at the adults around me that they didn't bring these authors into my universe
Mhm,
and
mhm.
didn't talk to me about any of these authors because my and it's not like my family didn't know. I mean, I think I've talked about this before. My family, like voracious readers, voracious, especially my aunt Catherine and her daughter, my cousin Robin. Like they read. Well, my aunt Catherine's passed now, but like books were everywhere. Right? Like y'all can kind of tell. Like I have a whole bunch of and this is me after having culled down a bunch of books, right? Like not to mention books that y'all can't see. But anyway, I was kind of like, why weren't there more books like this in why weren't these books in my house? Why didn't I know about these books as a kid? Right? Like cuz
Yeah.
I literally went from like, The Very Hungry Caterpillar to like, whatever my aunt Catherine was reading. Right? So there's a huge chunk of my reading education that I just don't have,
Mhm.
like we talked about, like the Judy Blume books and Pippi Longstocking, and the Little House on the Prairie. But I didn't read any of those. I didn't read any of those because I was like, oh, those
Okay,
are for
but
babies.
well,
But I am going to. There are books that I am going to go back and I'm going to read, and you know, granted, I'll
maybe
be
for
seeing them with like adult eyes, but I think maybe like little kid me will get something out of that as
maybe
well.
for 2027 banned books. Is that where we are? 27?
Mhm.
2027. Maybe we should do some children's selections. We wouldn't have to read as long,
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good
right?
point. I think maybe we should.
They would be quick reads. We could
Mm.
read all the books that we wish we were exposed to as children.
I love that idea.
I mean, my parents did bring some books into the home. Free to Be You and Me
Mhm.
and Shel Silverstein's
Uh, sh-
poetry.
mhm.
Yeah, there were books like that,
Mhm.
but where I feel lacking, which is really kind of interesting, is in the classics.
Mm.
I feel
Mhm.
like I don't really have an education there.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
and I don't know Black literature, let's be for real. Where would I have been
Mhm. Mhm.
exposed to that?
Mhm.
We're exposing ourselves now, which is
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah.
but no,
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of a lot of these people. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, the big ones like Toni Morrison, we've
Mhm.
heard of those books, but I haven't read them.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't do all kids' books because I think we should do some of the books that were specifically mentioned in here.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like
I think that's a great idea.
The Color Purple came up a lot, and we have that on our list for this year, which
Mhm.
I'm thrilled that we do after
Mhm.
reading this.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to read it anyway,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
uh, it is interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me more about your experience.
Yeah. So mean, I just had this sort of sadness, but I was like, but that's okay because this is an opportunity for me to make that right. It's an opportunity for me to get to know these authors
Mm,
now. That's what kept coming up for me as far as whether or not I have seen myself represented in literature. I mean, I've obviously there have been things in books that I identify with or things that resonate really strongly with me or things that I'm like, "Oh shit, I feel seen right there." But as far as seeing a kid in a book that had a background similar to my own, yeah, no. No.
you haven't seen
That
it
I
yet.
haven't I don't think I haven't seen that.
Well, I wonder if I have, if I've seen a kid in a book that has a background similar to mine. I don't know. Like when I think of
Mm.
Pippi Longstocking, I certainly was not an orphan.
Right.
I just
Right.
felt like one half the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
You
Yeah, no.
know,
Yep,
it's
yep,
not like
yep.
I didn't live in a home by myself.
Right.
I just
Right.
felt like I did half the time.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that, I get that, and I felt like I wasn't really fully understood and seen growing up. I mean, hell, I have friendships now that I'm like, "Yeah, we've known each other a long time, but you really don't get me at all." Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
there's a very small number of people in my life that I think really, really get me and really see me and understand me. You're one of those people that I think really sees me and really gets me.
But we have had such a unique opportunity because I wouldn't
Mhm.
say that that was true when we knew each other in high school,
Mm.
and I wouldn't say
No,
that that
not at
was
all.
and I wouldn't say that that was true. And also, I feel that you back at me as well,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't say that that was true when we were in the book club together.
Right.
But we have spoken to each other every week consistently for
Mhm.
5 years now.
Yeah, and I will
Wow,
say and I have been very
candid.
candid
Yeah, me too.
about things, and I don't necessarily open up like this just in general day-to-day conversation.
You know what that tells me
Mhm.
about our podcast, at least
Mhm.
for each other and hopefully for our listeners? It
Mhm.
tells me that we've created a safe enough space for both of us. Because think about our
Mhm.
first podcast.
Mhm.
I was like so nervous I could barely speak. But other than
Same.
that, also, like, I don't think we would have had a super deep conversation in the beginning.
Yeah, not like we do now. Mm-mm. Not
No,
at
but
all.
you know what we did? We created an intentional relationship with one another
Mhm. Yes, we did.
in front of the world.
In front yes, exactly. In front of everybody. Thanks for being here, people."
So, what is interesting to me is about this book is that I really got to see it, literature, reading,
Mhm.
writing, as social justice in a way that I didn't get to see before.
Okay.
And a few episodes back, I really like was pushing at you about that. I was mad on that episode and I said,
Oh, the one where we talked about the Voting Rights Act? That one?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but not that specific topic. I was
Mhm.
saying to you, what difference does having a podcast talking about
Oh,
books do? Right? And I was
yeah.
like really angry because I wasn't angry at you, by the way.
Oh, no, no, I know.
I was angry because I felt powerless.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
felt like nothing was doing, like taking the signs and going to protest wasn't working and our podcast wasn't working and what we were doing wasn't working. And yet
Mhm.
what I see in here with what she has done and all the authors and writers in here, what they have done is they have used their words as a
Mhm.
means of social justice.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
very, very powerful, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for like needling you that day
It's
because
okay. It's okay.
ultimately, ultimately, you're right. Amplifying voices, reading books, talking about them, even if we only had one person who ever listened to us, and we
Mhm.
don't, we have a lot more than that.
Mhm.
But even if we only had, actually, even if no one listened, and you and I just had these conversations every week,
Mhm.
It's still actually a pretty fucking powerful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just
It's
look at the change that it's had in our own lives.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I
yeah.
mean, that's huge. That's so huge that we can say, I've been changed by this conversation, you know? And that I think that's incredibly significant. And yeah, I mean, it's not for nothing. That's not a small thing.
No, it's not. And it also helped me to, there was I don't remember which story or which essay in here, but there was one that spoke about change. You may think you're living in the hardest time ever in history.
Mhm.
And that might
Mhm.
be true for you, but
Mhm.
things have changed.
Yeah.
Things have gotten better over time. They're just
Mhm.
not where we want them to be. I wish I knew which one I was talking about.
Yeah.
What was your favorite one?
Okay. So again, so many. I literally I love every single essay in here. The one that literally like just sits like right here in my heart. It's by Rebecca Walker.
Oh, I had a feeling you were going to talk about that one.
I even posted, you saw this. I posted on Facebook
Yes,
about this.
which you should tag. You should put that on our Instagram.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I will. I will put that on
Well,
there.
I shouldn't say should. You could choose to if you wanted to.
I totally will. I totally will. I have met Rebecca Walker a couple of times, very briefly. When her autobiography came out, and then like before her autobiography, she edited an anthology of feminist essays. Kind of similar to this, it was like different people who contributed to it. She did book tours for each of those books, and I met her both times because she did like a little Q&A
See,
thing.
you do the coolest stuff.
Oh, thank you. I was so bowled over by her. Like she's just, I mean, she's brilliant. For people who don't know, Rebecca Walker is Alice Walker's daughter, and she's just brilliant in her own right. Amazing. She's an amazing writer. So I went looking for her autobiography because I have it, and I bought it back when she went on the tour, and I found my copy of it. It's called Black, White, and Jewish: Autobiography of a Shifting Self. And I probably should reread this because I feel like I might see myself on these pages. But anyway, so this was, and she signed it. She signed
Oh,
it.
for Raquel. What does it
Yeah,
say?
it
For
says for
Raquel.
Raquel with an open heart. It has a little flower, and then she signed her name. I just remember being so just bowled over and impressed with her. I literally had to stop myself from underlining everything in this essay.
What? Well, you
And
can underline everything. It's your book.
that's true. That's true. And I did underline quite a bit of it.
Me too. I'm looking through it. I did too.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, there, like, I underlined stuff, I starred stuff, I did all these things. One passage that I want to read, it's on page 53. Oh crap, I'm gonna tear up on this. But this actually
It's good. We love to see Raquel cry on the mic.
and this actually brought tears to my eyes, and I actually wrote that when I read this passage. And so one of the notes that I wrote yes exclamation point, this exclamation point, and then I wrote this brought tears to my eyes, and then on the other side I wrote this is me with the podcast. So
Okay.
here we go.
Okay.
She writes, I feel very connected to the legacy of Black women writers who, by telling their own stories and the stories of others, have created a rich body of work that reveals the complexity of Black women's lives. Our work is making sure that our stories are told and told true. I'm tearing up already. Our work is making sure that our stories are told and told true. Our work is making sure our artistry is cultivated and expressed, shared and appreciated. Our work is honoring our genius when no one else does. Our work is refusing to surrender, refusing to be silenced, refusing to be rendered simplistically. Our work seems endless and probably is, but our stories are at the core of our identity. And if they don't exist in some critical way, we won't exist either. we won't have the glue that holds us together and gives us perspective on our lives through the lens of history. We have no way to join the sisterhood. So this this is why the podcast one of the reasons why the podcast is so important for me, because the podcast is my way of doing what Rebecca was just talking about.
Oh, so you see yourself in there?
Oh yeah. There we go. Ta-da! But yeah, but
Not
I
to be
just
flippant, but
yeah.
that's it. It's that feeling when you read something and it's, like, so totally true to your essence.
Mhm. Yeah, and I was like, "That's it. That's me. That's us. That's us with this podcast." And there's so much in what Rebecca Walker says that just lands so hard for me. First, I was like, "Oh, it's just because, I've met her a couple of times, blah, blah, blah." But I was like, "No, no, no. I felt this when I met her those other 2 times." Right? There's there's something about the way that she expresses herself that hits for me. And I'm so grateful to her, to all the women in this book, to Glory Edim, to anybody who has ever written anything that's touched me, or whether it's a play or a book or a TV show or whatever, because their writing allows me to get to know myself differently and deeper, but
Mm,
it also helps me to feel connected
mm.
to whoever wrote the thing that touched me in the first place.
Yes.
So,
I think you just
yeah.
summarized the whole book. Alright,
Oh,
my favorite one is on page 177
mhm,
by Carla Bruce Eddings, writer.
mhm. Yep.
Amazing Grace is what it's called.
Oh my god, I underlined so much of this one too.
Yeah, I really loved this one, and I did share this quote on my Instagram today, but I want you to share yours on Madness Cafe.
Okay, I will.
On the bottom of page 181, and she's talking about representation and identifying with people. And she
Mm,
says, it was the same yearning I felt to emulate Tyra Banks and Scary Spice, Oprah Winfrey, my mom, my sister. They showed me how I could expand when I didn't feel like enough. It didn't have to be just like them, but their quiet guidance and encouragement afforded me space. In simply being themselves, they widened the room. And then down she goes down further and she talks about what she wants now for her daughter,
mhm.
different than what happened for her. She ends it with, I have no doubt that being prodded a little bit outside of my comfort zone did me a world of good. That's it. It's
Wow.
small. It's like a lesson, it's like a life lesson, but it's also like this is what I was struggling with so much on that podcast that we had. We have been working so hard. For
Mhm.
5 years we've been doing this podcast, and Trump and Trumplicans continue to do what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And I'm just like, ah, I'm like, what difference does it make if I grow and I
Mhm,
change? Like,
mhm.
I'm just one person, this tiny little thing.
Right.
And what she says, in simply being themselves, they widen the room.
Mhm,
Oh, yes. When we return to who we are, we create the space for everyone else
mhm.
to decide to do the same.
Yeah.
But this was just so big to me.
Mhm. Yeah, and I have to say, so the very last sentence of her essay, and this I underlined and starred this because this felt like it was a message to myself too. And she writes, eventually I realized and continue to realize anew that I, Carla, am quite enough. I'm damn amazing.
Okay, now I'm going to read it and put my name in there, and then you're going to read it and put your name in there.
Okay.
Eventually, I realized and continue to realize anew that I, Jennifer, am quite enough. I'm damn amazing.
Yes.
Now you do it.
Yes. Okay. Eventually, I realized and continue to realize new. God.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It is that I, Raquel, am quite enough. I'm damn amazing.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yes. Yeah, I love
I
that
love that.
essay so much. I
Oh
love
my God.
all of them.
And I can't remember if it's this essay or another one. This actually it's this one where she talked about her family dysfunction and all this stuff and she was
Oh yeah,
like,
that's why it resonated with
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. And she's like, yeah, but without that dysfunction, I wouldn't be who I am, right? And
Exactly.
this is the paragraph that I was thinking about before and I couldn't find it. But this is it. So on page 181, the first beginning paragraph up on that page, she writes, "It was when I began to hear that younger students and some church members' children were looking up to me that I wondered if my self-doubt could be a dysfunction of its on its or of its own.
Yes.
What
Yes.
if I was someone
Yes,
else's grace?
Carla.
What if I could carve out a space of my own rather than inch down a prescribed path I felt loath to follow?"
Yes,
Yes,
Carla.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. What if we are all like in our dysfunction and humanness and all of it? What if we are someone that somebody else is looking up to?
Well, you are. Well, you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When I read that and then underlined it, I was like, I mean, literally, I had that thought, and I was like, huh. We
Right.
all are somebody's grace. We're
Dream.
all we are who somebody is looking up to us and like, yeah, yeah, I want to do that.
You talked about little Raquel not being given these books that she so needed.
Mhm.
Well, think of that little Raquel. What would if she saw you now, who you are, she would be like, "Oh, I want to be like her."
Yeah.
This is a good time to ask this question. A lot of the contributors in the book, they wrote stories about libraries being
Mhm.
their refuge,
Yeah.
or they found like a stack of books in their house. I think one
Yeah.
of them even was reading romance novels to
Yeah, yeah,
start,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like, and then finally figured out there's other things I can read besides romance novels, but that's what she
Mhm.
found in her house. Like,
Yeah.
you found science books in yours.
Yeah.
Thinking about that, we've already touched on this a little bit, but how did your childhood reading environment, how did it shape your love of reading?
In my house growing up, books were always revered.
Did you go to libraries?
I didn't go to libraries very much as a kid.
Me neither.
Um, I I do remember and I would get so excited. Like, when book fairs would happen
Oh, me
and
too. I
the
was
bookmobile.
yeah.
Yep, and I remember, like, looking through the little catalog, like,
Oh,
"Ooh,
me
what am
too.
I
Me
gonna
too.
get?
Me
What am I
too.
gonna get?" Oh my
I
god,
was a
loved
book
it.
fair junkie.
Loved it, loved
Me
it,
too.
loved it, loved it. And the thing was is, like, books were always like I said, books were revered in my home growing up, like, books were ultra important. So, the fact that I'm, like, writing all in this,
Oh,
like,
I know.
I think
Sacrilege.
oh, yeah, that'd be
I
like, "What
know.
the hell?" And, like, even, like, when you, like, turn the corner down of a book to mark your space, oh, that was bad. You
Or
don't
leave
do
it on the
that.
counter like this.
Right, yeah, don't break the spine. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, "These are my books. I can do whatever. I can write it up." And I look at them now as, like little journals,
Yeah.
basically. Like, the next time I read this, I'm gonna see the notes that I wrote. And it's okay, so remember, I think it was on our last episode, and I talked about how I would get so excited as a kid when I get my vocab lists every week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I've been trying to be kinder to my little kid self. That didn't make me weird. It just made me like I loved words. I still love words. Like, that's just who I am. That was me at my
It's
core.
to me, it's more than that. This is a passion of yours. This is like
Mhm.
a core, it's joy. Words were
Mhm.
joy to you.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, and take that for what it's worth. But in my opinion, that means pursue that joy. What does that
Mhm.
mean?
Right.
That you love. I think this idea of yours to be an editor is just like to do something like this.
Oh my God. It would bring me so much joy. And
Right.
and it was funny because as I was again, Rebecca Walker, reading her essay, there was just one part of a sentence that I underlined and I was like, "Oh, that's me. That was me with the like vocab lists." So on page 44, she's talking about words and reading and how just all of this was so exciting for her. And she was surrounded by all these literary people by virtue of her mom and what her mom did and all this kind of stuff. And the very last sentence, and I didn't even underline the whole sentence, just the very last part of it, but I'll read the whole sentence. She says, "The musicality of those words, the way they jumped off the page and out of my mouth, are my earliest memory of literary joy." And I underlined the part of my earliest memory of literary joy. And I was like, oh my God, that's the me with the vocab lists. That's what that
Yes.
is. It's like, oh, other people got super
And when you
excited about words too.
and when you see what's her first name, Rebecca Walker, I was going to call her by her mother's name, but when you see Rebecca Walker say that, you look at that little kid and you go, "Oh wow, that's so cool." But when
Yeah.
you talk about yourself, you say, "Oh, that's quirky, that's weird."
But this is like,
But she's a genius. You think she's a literary genius, which
right.
means guess who else is?
Thank you.
But that's
Thank
what
you.
I see.
Thank you. And it
Because
just,
every time we do an episode about books, you're either pissed off because the book is shit, or you're like, and like you get way more mad than I do.
oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it was all right, I read it.
Yeah.
But you're
Whereas
like,
I'm like,
"Ugh."
yeah.
Right? But then when it's good literature, like
Mm,
you dig into a sentence like it's a sandwich.
mhm. Yeah, it's like a fucking feast for me,
Yes,
you
that's what I'm
know?
saying.
And honestly, okay, and I did mark some sentences in here. Like I tabbed them different colors. Like some of the
Nice.
sentences that I was like, that's a beautiful sentence. I love the way that was crafted.
Give me one.
So, okay, so this one here on, let's say it starts on page 15 and it's Veronica Chambers' essay. She's an author and she writes the down toward the very end, she writes, "I didn't see myself exactly in their work, but I reveled in the castles of words they created."
Yeah, that's so
Look
cool.
at the castle of words they create. My
Yeah.
God. Now
And what
that is
and what's
amazing.
and what's great about that is that not every sentence is written like that. If every sentence was, you'd be like, "What the hell am I reading?"
Mhm.
But that sentence fits exactly where it's supposed to. Wow.
And just think about that. The castle those words created. Think about that. Like that's castles are shelter. Castles are a fortress. Castles are a home, a creation. Castles are something that stand.
I know someone who loves literature.
I do, I
I
do, I do.
know.
So, yeah, I do see myself in so many parts of this book by all these different authors and these amazing women who have written amazing sentences and books and who do these amazing things and who touch so many amazing people and just help people connect with them. Like literally here in real time, I'm connecting to myself. I'm seeing myself in these women's words. As I was thinking about all this and kind of like taking a step back and considering the book as a whole, well, a bunch of things came up for me, but a couple of things. The importance of art, community, of storytelling.
Mm,
Those things are so key, and especially now given our political climate. This is a place books are a place where we can find community, where we can
yeah.
find belonging, where we can find information, where we can join a world that feels safer and better and calmer and more accepting than the one we're currently in.
Yeah, I know you were right. I know you were right. You don't have to you don't have to rub it in. I was in a bad place. I was surprised actually, even though it wasn't outwardly said,
Mhm.
community is a huge piece of this book.
Yes.
This book is
Yes.
about creating community. The
Yes.
fact that her shirt
Yeah.
drew people in, and you did that, Raquel. George Floyd was murdered, and you reached out. You said, "Who would join a book club?" You created a community. It's so brilliant. I have a few more questions for you.
Oh, okay.
You said there were a lot of books you didn't know. Same with me, a lot of authors.
Yeah.
But was there, after looking at this, were you like, oh my gosh, I have never read that book. I got to read that book. I have put it on my list forever and I haven't read it. And which one do you need to read?
Oh, girl.
Me too.
Like
But
literally everything mentioned.
we
No.
only have
Okay.
450 books to read in our life. So which one are you
Okay.
going to read first?
Whoa, which one am I going to read first? So, which one am I going to read first? Like, one that, and maybe not just one, but I feel like I need to revisit Toni Morrison.
I don't think I've read it. Well, I must have.
I have
What have I read?
attempted Toni Morrison and have always been really, really intimidated by her books. Um, yeah, I've always been
Explain, say more. Because I feel some resonance here that I'm going to talk about when you're done.
okay. So partly because they're super thick. They're always really big. They're
I
big
mean,
books.
super thick it's in style.
Well,
Super
sure.
thick.
Super thick. Uh
It's actually not in style. They're trying to give us all a Zempic.
yeah, well, I'm not taking them, and we all know that thick thighs save lives. So because when you've got thick, powerful thighs, you can do more squats and then you age better. So there we go. I'm gonna live forever. Um yeah, I because I Toni Morrison is a very like her work just seems to be so dense and just full of all the things. When I've tried to start a Toni Morrison book before, it was really hard for me to get into it. And that's a thing for me. I think I've talked about this on the show before that if a book doesn't grab me in the first like maybe like 25 pages,
You stop.
then I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
patience for it. Unless of course like with book club, I mean with the podcast, yeah, I
Well,
of course
yeah.
I read them because we're talking about them. But in my personal life, if a book doesn't grab me right away, then I just put it down.
Well,
And I have done that with Toni Morrison's books, and that's something that I want to get over.
no, I think you bring up a valid point here
Mhm,
because yeah, Toni Morrison is everybody has
mhm.
heard of her books, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah,
But it doesn't mean her books are for everybody. And
true.
just because she's black and you're black doesn't mean
Mhm.
you have to resonate and read. That would be ludicrous, right?
That's true, that's true.
So it is okay for us not to be like, oh, I don't resonate with that writer. That
Right.
being said,
Mhm.
the first time I picked up bell hooks, I threw it across the room.
Oh, right, yep,
Right. So
yeah,
sometimes a revisit is not a bad idea. Like maybe we're not in the right headspace or frame of mind or not even understanding it.
yeah, yeah.
For me in my household, my mother and my stepfather, they read all the time.
Mhm,
We had books everywhere. They were
yeah,
reading. I have no idea what they were reading.
mhm,
I read the same books over and over and over again. Like I had A
mm,
Wrinkle in Time. I had that series. I read it probably 50 times. I had some books about princesses that my stepmother bought me that were one was called The Practical Princess because she didn't
mhm,
want me to focus on beauty standards. So I read that stuff over and over again. And Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, I had that series. I probably read it
mhm.
15 times.
Wow.
But I grew up in a family where my mom and my stepfather did not think I was smart.
What?
Yeah, it's true. They thought I was it's kind of funny because it's not how it turned out, but and I believed them. When we were reading classics and stuff in school, remember how I
Mhm.
told you I
Yeah.
didn't read them?
Yeah.
Looking back, I think I didn't read them because I didn't think I was smart enough to read them. Yesterday, I decided that I should do a book on tape. And I decided to put Frankenstein on, written
Mhm.
by Shelley
Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley. Thank you. Because my daughter and I have talked about Frankenstein quite a bit. And so we
Mhm.
were on the phone and we are talking about it. And I said, it's actually really good. I'm really enjoying it. And she said, didn't you think you would? And I said, I didn't think I would understand it.
Mm.
And she was like, what do you
Oh,
mean?
shit, that's how I feel about Toni Morrison.
That's why I wanted to bring this up.
Damn.
Yes. I didn't think I would understand it because of my childhood programming, I thought the language would be too difficult. That's why I didn't
Mm.
read Little Women. That's why I didn't read Pride and Prejudice. That's why I didn't read a lot of these classics that I was interested in. I felt
Yeah.
like the ones we read in high school were easy, like
Mhm.
um, what's that one with the boys on the island?
Oh, Lord of the Flies?
Lord of the Flies. Those are easy reads, right? And I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that book. I love that book. I love the new series that just came out on it. It's
Mhm.
fantastic. If anyone
Mhm.
hasn't seen it, it's so well done. But I have realized that I also love literature. But I grew up in a family where I think I just thought I was too dumb or too I didn't think I understood it. I had to learn that I love literature. But I should have
Mhm.
known because I was constantly reading.
Mhm.
But I did read the same books over and over and over and over.
Wow. Yeah, I rarely reread books. There's maybe yeah, I rarely reread books. I can't even think necessarily for sure of one that I have actually
I was
reread.
bored, and it's what I had access to
Oh, okay.
because I had the sets
Yeah.
in my room. They were
Yeah.
in my room, and so when I was bored, I just returned to the same book
Mhm.
because I don't think I was really taken to libraries particularly, or
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't everyone in my family read, but I don't know that I was truly encouraged to read or
Mhm.
and I know I always make my family out to look like a bunch of demonic assholes. They're
No, you
not.
don't. You
They're
don't.
they were loving and sweet and educators, and there were just certain things they
Yeah.
really did. My dad didn't feel this way, but my mom and my stepfather really thought I was the dumb child.
Wow.
Turns out I'm not.
No, you're not at
Yeah,
all. And you know, it's funny that you bring that up because I was trying to figure out why
I
I
never did my
thought that
homework.
I just thought it was because you were one of the cool kids and you were popular and
Well, yeah.
popular kids just didn't do their homework. I thought I was just like the nerdy kid who did their homework. I don't
I
know.
just thought I was dumb, Raquel. See, it's all so
No.
much more layered than you think it is.
Well, yeah, yeah. And honestly, I think one of the reasons why I've been intimidated by Toni Morrison is because Jesus, consistently growing up would hear people talk about Toni Morrison books and talk about how difficult and dense they were.
Ah,
And so
ah,
instead of just finding that out for myself, I just looked at how thick her books were
thick
and
as in.
it didn't get me. I know. And it didn't get me in the first like 20, 25 pages. So I was like, oh, I'm not gonna get it anyway. It's gonna be too much. It's gonna be whatever, whatever. I just took on and absorbed everybody else's feelings about Toni Morrison.
Yep.
And so I just didn't read it.
Put one on our list for next. She's got to have banned ones, right?
Oh god,
Probably
I'm
all of
sure.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of books being banned, I need to say this book was banned.
Oh, we forgot that part
Oh
of
my
our
god.
banned book
This
series.
and this one is so crazy to
Why would
me.
they ban this?
This is so crazy to me. It's probably going to be the craziest instance of banning of any of the books that we will ever read in our
Why?
series.
Why was it banned?
This was banned sometime around like February 2025 by the Department of Defense. The Department
What?
of Defense.
For what?
I don't even know. I don't even know because I got so distracted in just that I was like, what the hell? So I'm going to look this up literally right now. So
I
I'm
didn't
sure,
look it up either. I totally forgot.
yeah, I just got so just caught up in, oh my God, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, aside from the fact that it's in the whole DEI space, according to them. Oh,
Included.
it banned this book along with hundreds of other titles from military schools to enforce sweeping new policies barring teachings on diversity, equity, and inclusion,
It's
as well
just
as race and gender. Because we don't want people to know anything outside of the cis het white male perspective. That's literally it. Yep, that's literally it. One thing that I want to bring up that I think is really, really important that Glory actually talks about a little bit in her introduction that I think is really, really important to note because and even the phrase well read, that has a connotation of reading the classics, read like Moby Dick, Frankenstein, Wuthering Heights. It's all those books. Like those are the books that are considered part of the canon of people who are well read, right?
right, right, right.
But what Glory Edim is doing and is so well is bringing to the fore that Black literature is also part of being well read. I think that is such an important thing to note because James Baldwin, Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes, Toni Morrison, Alice Walker, you know, reading those people, that's also part of being well read. It's not just stuff written by old dead white guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you.
And so I think that that is a really important thing and I think it's so key to the impact that Glory Edim has had in with her book club, with with this anthology, with her Instagram page and people talking about reading and people talking about specifically reading Black authors, reading LGBTQ plus authors, or reading from authors that have no connection to you at all. It's all part of being well read. It's all part of the important literary canon that speaks to and informs who we are, who we can be, who we should be, where we want society to go.
It was an unfortunate discussion that you and I had that one day about I don't even know what we called that episode, our cry for help, something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
an unfortunate discussion, but now I'm actually really glad that it happened because this is kind of the answer to the question that we were posing, or
Hmm.
at least that I was like screaming into the microphone. Okay, change takes time, and I knew all that, but I was just feeling I was feeling all the feels. To be honest, that is what literature did for me as a kid.
Hmm.
Whether I realized it or not, when I felt alone and lonely, Pippi Longstocking stepped in. And
Oh,
when yeah, and when I felt bored at my father's house because there were only boys in the neighborhood, I went back to The Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe again.
nice.
I didn't have any of these books back
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
I'm glad we have these books now.
yeah,
I hope little kids of all races, genders get to read books, any
yeah.
books, all books. This is why we don't ban books. We
Hmm.
shouldn't be banning. There's a place where I feel the word shouldn't is
Hmm.
actually truly justified. We shouldn't be banning books.
Yeah,
Sure, with your own children, monitor their age appropriateness,
sure.
but not for other people's children.
Right, exactly.
Right? And make choices. Read with your kids. That's what I did when my kids wanted to read books I wasn't sure about. I was like, "We'll read them together." Well, guess
Hmm.
what? They didn't read them then. They're like, "I don't want to read this with my mom," but I read some good books.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Any final words? What's a book
I just
everybody should read?
this is something that I was thinking about while I was reading this. Once I was done and I was trying to like gather my thoughts for today, that you're seeing this more and more. And I think this started partly during Black Lives Matter, but definitely reached a little bit of a fever pitch when George Floyd was murdered. That people were like, okay, I need to read more from authors that don't look like me, which is great. I think that's awesome. Yes, people read, but people were always like, where do I start? Where do I go? Who do I start with? Okay, pick up this book.
This book has, there's
This
so
book
many
is
books in here.
amazing. And
Yeah.
and I want to note that I love that there's all the lists
Yes.
in this book, because y'all know my nerdy self loves a good list. Not only at the end does Glory include a list of all the books that are mentioned in this entire anthology. She lists all those, but then throughout the book, she sprinkles in different lists like where's the one? Classic novels by Black women, books on Black women, science fiction and fantasy books by Black women. Like just she breaks them down into these different smaller other lists. So if you're like, okay, where do I dig in? Like what should I start with? Okay, well, first off, you could start with this book.
You
But
can start with this
otherwise,
one.
you can just flip through it, pick a title and start there too, right? Like there's so many places to start. And I am so incredibly grateful to Glory Edim for putting this together.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think the message is just start.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. What about you? What are some of your takeaways?
We've really discussed them all. How literature has really always been there for me, whether I
Mhm.
realized it or not.
Mhm.
It was a place that I returned to. I did see myself, not wholly myself, but different aspects of myself sprinkled in literature.
Mhm.
And yes, these anthologies were written by Black women, but I did see myself in this as well. There are mirrors, there are reflections. There's also so many doors in here
Mhm.
that I didn't know. Read. That's my takeaway. Read. Become a well read person.
Awesome. I love it. I'm so glad we read this book.
Yeah, you continue to pick good ones. I
Thank
like
you.
this year's list of books better than last year's.
Yeah, I think last year we were way too heavy on the books written by men.
Men.
Too many books written by men.
Good
Thanks for
pick.
being on this journey with me.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and for our audience, if y'all read this, if you have read it, if you've been part of Glory Adams' community and read any of the other stuff, just hey, let us know, man. Or if you're going to pick it up and just like start and pick one of the books listed, let us know that too. I really want to know people's reactions to and experiences with this because this is amazing. Thank you, Glory Edom.
Yeah. Thank you, Glory. And just one final housekeeping thing. We're off
Yes.
for 2 weeks. We're going
Mhm.
to return with a mini-sode and then we'll be back into our episodes.
Yep. So stay tuned, everybody. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend.
Or you could leave us a comment and a 5-star review or email us at madnesscafepodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks, everybody.